So, what if I told you the secret to remembering everything isn't about studying more, but actually studying a whole lot less? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful technique, one that's inspired by some of the world's most efficient students, and I promise it will completely change the way you think about learning. You know the feeling, right? You spend hours reading a chapter, you cover it in highlighter, you listen to the lecture, and then, a week later, it's like poof, it's all gone. That feeling of information just slipping away is so frustrating, and it turns out you are definitely not alone. And this whole frustrating cycle, well, we can call it the study trap. It's this belief that we all seem to have that the more time you pour into your books, the more you're going to get out of them. But as so many of us have figured out the hard way, that's often just not true at all. These habits right here probably look super familiar. Rereading, highlighting everything in sight, those marathon study sessions, these are the go-to methods for millions of students. But they all share one giant fatal flaw. They're passive. You're just letting information wash over you, which is a terrible, terrible way to build long-term memory. So here's the crucial point, and I really want this to sink in. If you feel like you're not making progress, it is not because you aren't trying hard enough. It's because you're using the wrong tools for the job. And the good news? There's a much, much smarter way to work. And that smarter way, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in your approach. We need to move away from being a passive consumer of information, just sitting there, taking it in, and instead become an active participant in our own learning. And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's night and day. On the left, you've got the old way, the long hours, the stress, the burnout. And for what? You forget it all anyway. But on the right, you see the outcome of studying smart. Focused techniques, real confidence, and knowledge that actually sticks around. It's about efficiency, not endurance. This quote just hits the nail on the head. I mean, anyone can cram a few facts for a test and then forget them the next day. But true learning, the kind that actually empowers you, is about understanding how concepts connect to form a bigger picture. That's the real goal here. So, how do we get there? How do we achieve this deep comprehension? Well, we do it with a technique called the one-page method. I absolutely love this method because its power is in its simplicity and its constraint. So here's what it is. The entire goal is to take a huge topic, a whole chapter, a lecture, maybe even an entire historical period, and force yourself to distill it down to its absolute essence on a single sheet of paper. This act of condensing, of forcing yourself to choose what's important, that's where the magic really happens. Okay, the method itself breaks down into 4 really clear steps. Step 1 is absorb. You read or watch your material one time through, but here's the rule: no notes allowed. Seriously. The goal isn't to capture details yet, it's just to get the big picture, the general shape of the idea. This stops you from just mindlessly copying things down. Then, step 2, identify keywords. Now you go back for a second pass. This time, you're like a detective, and you're only looking for the most essential clues, the core concepts, key names, and critical terms. You have to be selective. Step 3 is where the real work and the real learning happens. Synthesize and connect. You take a single blank page and you arrange these keywords. Don't just make a list, build a visual story. Draw lines, arrows, little diagrams to show how these ideas all relate to each other. You're building a mental model from scratch. And finally, step 4, recall and rebuild. This is the ultimate test. Put away all your books and notes. Using only your one-page map, you have to explain the entire topic out loud, like you're teaching it to a friend. If you can teach it, you truly know it. This is active recall, and it's what cements the knowledge in your brain for good. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds cool, but does it work for my subject? And the answer is a resounding yes. The real beauty of the one-page method is how flexible it is. You can adapt this to learn absolutely anything. Just look at these examples. For history, your one-pager might be a timeline of key events and people. For science, it could be a flowchart that connects core concepts and formulas. Studying literature, try a map of character relationships and major plot points. The form changes, but that core principle of condensing and connecting always stays the same. You know, when you really master this, it honestly feels like gaining a learning superpower. And this isn't just about getting better grades. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with learning and, maybe most importantly, freeing up your most valuable resource, your time. I mean, the benefits are just so clear. You get a much deeper understanding because you're forced to see the connections. You actually retain the information for the long term because you built the mental map yourself. And of course, you get more free time, which is huge, and a massive boost in confidence, knowing you can tackle any subject that comes your way. So ultimately, we need to go back to that leaky bucket idea we started with and just throw it out. Learning isn't a passive act of filling your head up with facts. It's an active process. It's about constructing your own understanding, building connections, and lighting a fire of curiosity that fuels itself. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Just imagine for a moment that the fear of forgetting was gone, completely. What new skill would you learn? What complex subject would you finally dive into? With the right method, that isn't just a fantasy. That's a real possibility.